Okay, are we ready for the PowerPoint? I hope you all can see me. Thank you for having me tonight for this presentation. I work at Kendall School. In this topic, everything you need to know about potty training. I'm sure you all are ready and eager to learn more about the topic of potty training. Everyone has difficulty knowing how potty training can help your child and how to help your child with potty training. So I'm happy to share my presentation with you. As was mentioned before, I work at the Clerc Center with the Parents and Infant Program Early Intervention. I've been there for 25 years, working with parents across the state. Some are hearing and some are deaf, but my focus is on ages 0 to 2. So I have 2 classes that I run, 0 to 1 on Monday and Tuesday. Wednesday and Thursday is the other group of children. I was raised in Louisiana, deaf family, 6 generations. My children are deaf as well. So we go back quite a ways. I graduated from LSD. So I am proud to be back and presenting here at LSD. And later you can ask me questions about my family and my background if you'd like. So potty training history. It's really a complex process. It can be complex for both parents and the child. And girls and boys are different when it comes to potty training. And there's the learning process. There's a learning process for both. It's not true that boys are slower to learn than girls. The learning process just differs from person to person. Dr. Spock wrote a book in 1946. I'm sure that some of you have this book. And it was encouraged that the child decides when they're ready to be trained. If the child is not ready, trying to push them is not productive. But waiting until the child is ready will be productive. So you don't want to focus on a certain age of potty training. Most of the time, the average age is 18 months, but it depends on the child. Sometimes the child is ready earlier, at an earlier age, and some is later. It depends on cultures too. Different cultures sometimes try doing it earlier, but most standard time is around 18 months. It might take days, weeks, or months. It just depends. This is very important. Is your child ready? These are questions you can ask yourself. If your child can walk and sit on a toilet, then possibly. Can your child pull down their own pants and then pull them back up again? If so, then they might be ready. Can your child stay dry for up to 2 hours? If yes, then they might be ready. Can your child understand and follow basic directions? If so, then they're ready. Can your child communicate when they need to go to the bathroom? If so, if the answer is yes to all of these, then your child is ready. You will know when they're ready. If the answer is no, then just wait. Don't push your child. Don't try to force them. Just stay positive. Most of the time, now, for an example, if you're in the process of moving, hold off on trying potty training. There's too much going on to focus on that training. So you would wait until you get to your new home. If there's a new sibling coming along, then don't try to start potty training when there's some big event in your life. Wait until your child is ready. Wait until you can be at home, when you can have a set regimen with the child. Make sure that it's a smooth process, not a hurried process. Okay, next slide. Communicating with your child. There's a lot of words that you can learn to sign with your child. You'll see on YouTube, there's different signs. I'm going to go ahead and sign these with you now. We have potty or bathroom. You can say, come on, let's go to the potty. Ready. Open the lid or close the toilet lid. Dirty. Clean. Dry. Wet. Help. Pee. Poop. Pull up. Underwear or underwear. Underwear. Accident. You'll see them have accidents often. Soap. Wash your hands. All done. Flush. And great job. Really reward them. Give them a sense of pride. And these are some other potty signs here that you can find on YouTube. Potty. Do you need to go potty? Ready? Open the lid. Close the lid. Dirty. Clean. Dry. Wet. Help. Pee. Poop. Pull up. Underwear. Accident. So I hope you all learned some signs and you can practice them every day. If your child is ready, you can go ahead and practice those signs. If you can't remember the sign, you can gesture, you can point. Don't feel under pressure. So that's why I made that video, so that you can keep referring to it and learning the signs, and keep practicing with your child. Okay, next slide. There's different ways you can communicate with your child. It can be with sign language. It can be gesturing. It can be role playing with both mother and child involved. Parents who are at home with their child should be encouraged to role play, to act things out. For an example, come see, this is how you pee, and make it fun. Facial expressions are important. If you see a child they have to go poop, then encourage them. Don't use words like stinky, like pinching your nose. It's a natural everyday process. So you want to encourage it and make it positive and make it fun, not to have any negative words or signs associated to it. Pictures can be used, stickers can be used, different ways to practice communicating with your child, to try to make it fun. Okay, next slide. This is important. If you have a child who is deaf or hard of hearing with an additional disability, it's important to have routine and repetition. You don't want to change the time schedule. Stay on a schedule and be consistent. It's the next slide. The next slide, please. Okay. Okay, so you want to stay on schedule, make a routine. With a child who has additional disabilities, sometimes referred to as deaf plus autism or other Down syndrome, you want to be consistent, have a routine, follow a schedule. Now, if your child is ready for potty training, then you want to make sure that you're at home. If you have to go out somewhere in a public place, it would be very difficult. So if you can try to be home most of the time while doing the training. Also, make sure that you have plenty of visuals. You can have a picture with the child, with the toilet, pictures of what to do. On another slide, I have pictures. You can make your own pictures. You can take pictures of your child and make a picture book. You can demonstrate with a doll, or the parents can demonstrate themselves, or a sibling can demonstrate. In past experiences with students, the dad would use a robot like the dad would rub the hamstrings, before sitting down. So that way, it wouldn't feel, because the toilet is cold. So that was a way to try to be creative with a child with disabilities, because sometimes they're resistant and they don't want to. So to try to encourage the child to keep warm, that's what he would do. Or sometimes maybe warm up the toilet seat before sitting the child down. Something to help the process be more smooth. And just one thing at a time, not to overwhelm the child. Try to make it a fun experience, a learning experience. Sometimes with children with disabilities, they don't want to try something new. So you want to encourage them to go to the bathroom and be gentle with the way that you're speaking, with your facial expressions, and make it a happy moment. Patience is important. Sometimes kids feel overwhelmed. They feel under pressure. The parents feel under pressure. The child feels stressed. It's not an easy process. It is difficult. It's a difficult journey and it's complex. So it doesn't have to be a perfect system. It doesn't have to be. So I can even say, like me, Mom, I have to go pee. Do you have to go pee? Let's go together. And make it an enjoyable thing. Talk to your child. You can talk about, did you pee? Are you finished? And see if they actually did go, and say, oh, you went too, we both did. And just make it a fun experience. And we do have time for questions later, so jot those down if you have questions. And next slide. rewards and incentives. It's important. You can make your own little reward system together. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. If the kid colors all over it, that's fine. The child can have their own. You can make another one. And you can put stickers on there as rewards. It doesn't have to be a sticker reward system. It could be a reward with their favorite snack, or it could be their favorite book. If they like to dance and sing, maybe sign a song, then you can do that. You can also have them pick what they want, go shopping and let them pick what they want as a reward. Make it a fun experience. And brag on them, let them tell about it. They can tell people about their chart and what they did. They can have a big celebration. I peed, yay, or I pooped, yay. You want to encourage it and encourage it to be a fun time. And mom and dad can reward themselves as well. Next slide. There's a lot of helpful links here that you can refer to. There's one there from Healthline. We have one here from 0to3.org. They have a lot of resources, 166 different potty training related things. We have some for children that are later on, 4 and 5. There's 30 different training tips that you can learn from. There's signing time, like this here. You can watch that on YouTube. There's a lot of different helpful videos on YouTube, but this one here, you can find that it's potty training. We have for special needs children as well, which is really nice. A variety of different resources for you, age appropriate. There's a lot of different helpful links there for you. And we're just going to switch interpreters.
Voice check, can you hear me before you leave? Okay, just checking. Okay. So these are some helpful links that you can use. Download those when you have an opportunity. Next slide. Okay. So it's important to subscribe to the National Deaf Center. We have a lot of resources for families and professionals alike. So those who are working within the school system, working with families, early intervention, there's lots of different programs. And also those for home supports. There's many things that you can access for resources. And so we will upload that link later on for you to check out. There's information, incredible amounts of information that you can access on the National Deaf Center website that we offer nationwide. And I think we're going to show you that a little bit later. So next slide. And actually some more resources that we have. I'm sure you may already have this, but these are quite important to download. I encourage you all of that with your kids to get in there, start signing, dancing, do hands land, Why I Sign, ASL Nook, ASL app. They really have a lot of good tips for you to use and communicate with your child at home. So these are vastly valuable. So I always encourage my families in my class to use these resources. They are absolutely helpful in development for your kids. Next. And it's important that we have this presentation because I know that you have questions and I know that they're going to come, and that's perfect. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to have Dr. Delgado sign your questions, and that will allow me to be able to answer them as we are. So, okay, Dr. Delgado. Okay, are there any questions? Yes, thank you, Brenda, for the information. So we do have some parents here who are waiting to share their experiences, who want to ask some questions. So thank you all for coming tonight. I did want to give you some time to ask Brenda some questions and get her experience and expertise for early intervention and early childhood, and as a parent herself, potty training her own 2 deaf children. So if there are any questions for Brenda, go ahead and type them in the chat right now. Yes, thank you. And if you want to sign your questions, just message me and I will allow you to turn your camera on. Okay, first question in the chat is from Shannon. And she's asking, what are your thoughts on pull-ups versus going straight to underwear? Okay, so with my 2 children, I had one daughter, my son was 24, my daughter's 14, and I actually did not use pull-ups with them. I believe in underwear all the way, because when my son was born in May, he was already getting ready to go, and we were ready to, I wasn't going out as much. Excuse me, I was staying home a lot because his birthday was in May. June was, school was out and we weren't going out as much and driving as much. And so I was home with him. And he turned 2 in May, and summer school was starting, and I had summertime, school was in the fall. So he was ready for underwear. And I say underwear because in the South, this is how we sign it, is underwear. But here, actually in DC, on the North, they sign underwear, which is this way. So I'm sure whatever you're comfortable with signing, I sign underwear because I'm from Louisiana. And I still love, even though I've been in DC for 33 years, I still sign it that way. But just make sure whatever you choose is the right sign for you and your child. But I did use underwear. I never did use pull-ups with my children. That's a good question. Okay, next question is from Taryn. And she says, good evening. I was not here at the beginning of the presentation. What are the signs that tell us our children are ready or not? Okay, the average from Dr. Spock says the average child is ready about 18 months. But I did mention previously, cultural-wise, in other countries, they may go a little earlier, before they're even 1 in some countries, especially in the Asian cultures. I mean, I've seen that in my experience, that in some Asian families, they've already are potty training in underwear. So it's quite a shocker. They're not even 1. It was such an interesting and fascinating process to watch the parents involved in potty training in my class and say, wow, that's so early at 9 months. How are you doing that? That they said they just don't use pull-ups. Sometimes they even go naked while they're at home. They just have the potty ready and they can go when they're needed. So to control their own bathroom usage, they just go. But how is it different from our kids now, whether they're 18 months, 2, 3, how they are able to control themselves? It's a psychological thing. It's, just within their culture, they just train differently. So I was really quite impressed with the Asian families within my class and my 25-year experience. But really, if there's an average, sometimes it's 18, sometimes kids go up to 4 to 5. It really just depends on the individual. And remember, disabled kids or disabled plus are different. For example, in the past, I had a child with a trach who was 4. And how they understood a pull-up or ready to go to the bathroom, underwear usage. He did not stay in our program. He did move to another program. But today the child is 14, and I remember that child because that used to be my daughter. It was my daughter's class, and we had a parent connection back in Kendall. But now he's 14, and he's still in diapers. So understand that trach, wheelchairs, different mobility issues can cause different things. Each kid is different. Okay, and I did want to add for Taryn, if you did miss the beginning of the presentation, that's fine. We are going to upload the recording on our website. And she did explain other examples and other signs, like the child is able to communicate wet, dry, etc. That is explained in the beginning of the presentation. So we will share the recording with you on the website. Okay, another question was from Alexander. And it says, for the potty training phase, do you put pull-ups entirely and then underwear, or back and forth? So as I mentioned before, I never used pull-ups, but I have seen in my experience in my program that families do bring pull-ups. And I would like to start with, for myself, my philosophy would be to start with underwear. And if they're wet and they had an accident, and like, oh, okay, have a backup underwear ready. Pull-ups, how do they know the different sensation between being wet and dry? It's almost like a diaper. So, and as underwear is cloth, right? It's cloth-like feeling. So if it's wet, it automatically feels different. They feel wet, oh my gosh. So I would encourage them to have that self-motivation. Oh, my underwear is wet and I'm wearing underwear. But pull-ups are almost like diapers. So, and that's my opinion. Okay, and back to Taryn, add to your earlier comment. You said that her son had showed signs of readiness around 18 months, but hasn't shown any more, but he's almost 3 now. And when he will sit at the toilet with his mother and use the bathroom, compared to letting her know that she has to go. Okay, and I did mention this in a previous slide, but you'll see that when I share the PowerPoint. But so communicate with the child, and that's very important. You need to role play, sign, show pictures, really motivate them and encourage them and show them how to express themselves. Like, oh, come on, let's go. Maybe sign, come on, I'm ready, sign ready. And say, come on, let's go to the bathroom. Let's go to the bathroom together. Be in the bathroom with them. Don't leave them alone. Go in there with them. Maybe the parent can sit down and just say, oh, yay, let's sign, and we'll sing a song while they're on the toilet. Are you done? And praise them when they're complete. Reward them, encourage them. And so they have that motivation. It's really important to use that communication. If you're not able to sign as well, remember, if you're not signing, gesture. You can gesture with them, point, sign, come on, role play that out. Hold their hand and say, let's go to the bathroom, and do it together. There's a lot of role playing and gesturing. Using pictures is fine. But if you really want them in underwear, put them in underwear. And if they're wet, if they have an accident, it's okay. We have a backup underwear. There are many more. You want to have different types of underwear, different cloths, pictures, cartoon characters on them, animals. They might have more motivation for that too. They might be more excited to have that. Like, I remember with my kids, it was a lot of fun. We would go to the store. I'm like, let's go shopping. We're going to buy a new toilet for them to use. And so I had 3 because my son wanted those 3. So I took 3 out and I said, okay. I said, let's sit down on all 3 of them and test them out. And he got to experiment and sort of research which one he wanted. And then he was able to pick the one he wanted. And so next we went to the underwear section and I said, okay, which one do you want? And so he was able to play around with that and choose which one he wants. And he wanted to open them right away. I said, no, we have to buy them. but you have to make it a fun process, make it enjoyable for the kids. And so when they buy it, they want to, hurry home. They're so excited, make it fun. Look back in the mirror and say, are you excited to use the potty? And once they get home, they're maybe, excited to take that diaper off and get into their underwear. I mean, it was really fun. We laughed. Try that. Try that communication, that socialization around it. Okay, next question is from Valerie. And she said, I've been potty training since August, and I'm still not at 100%. And at first he loved wearing underwear, but now he prefers to wear a pull-up. How do I avoid the pull-up? So just stop buying the pull-up. If this is the last pull-up, tell him, show them. Open up the trash, throw it in the trash can and go, oh, oops, where's your underwear? Let's go find your underwear. Do it together. Open up the drawer, choose one out. And if they say they don't want it, I said, well, where's your pull-up? We don't have any more. We threw them all away. Then it's in the trash, it's in the garbage, it's gone. And so that might give them something to process and think about. They may not have it. They know they don't have a choice now and they have to wear their underwear. Actually, I've done that with a few parents in the class and it seemed to work. It's just like with the bottle. Once the bottle was done, you throw it in the trash and the kid's face was just like, oh, shocked. Same with the pull-up. Throw it away and just move on to the underwear. But remember, the pull-up is almost like a diaper. Okay, next question is from Hannah. She says, hello. I was wondering if anyone has any tips for deaf and hard of hearing children with Down syndrome. So yes, in my 25 years experience, I had 3 Down syndrome children and they were successful. Within my class from 0 to 2, the 2-year-olds moved on to 2-year-old class and then moved on to 3-year-old class. And I do remember that they were successful with potty training, moving on to their underwear at the Kendall school, and it was so great. And they weren't my students. I actually went down to tell them hi, and they were so dancing around, very excited. And I was so happy for the child, and they seemed to remember me. That's my sign name, Brenda. But we celebrated that at the Kendall school because they were able to be potty trained, and it was a very proud moment. And remember, patience. Remember that if they're not ready, have patience. You might need to take a few steps back until they are ready. Always have patience. Okay, next question is from Deanna. She says, my 4-year-old deaf and autistic child understands everything to do with potty training, but we still can't get him to go on the potty. He goes everywhere else, and I do mean everywhere else. Today, he peed in his shirt drawer after he woke up. What are the next steps? I feel like I can't give up because he won't keep underwear or pull-ups on when home. Okay, wow. Good question. And so I hope that you're making like a picture book for him, like take pictures of him, take pictures of the toilet, take pictures of his underwear, take pictures of each of those items, and take pictures of your bathroom and show him, if you need to go to the potty, where's the potty? And have him show you. I mean, if he's 4, have him show you, look at the picture. This is the bathroom. Oh, okay, yes, this is the bathroom. Okay. And what is this? This is your underwear. Wonderful. Then where is your underwear? Where is it? And do it with pictures. The pictures will really help the child in their guidance system of going step by step and helping them have the instructions in their heads. You want to do one thing at a time. And I mentioned that in my slides. Do one thing at a time to make him feel like he owns it. Like, I can do it. I am number one. I can do this. with your support through the step process. So please make pictures, like a picture book. And if the child might say, "What's it for?" We'll show him. "Well, this is you." And he's like, "Who's that?" "This is me." "Oh yeah, and this is the bathroom. Are you ready? Let's go." And go ahead and go to the bathroom. And then when you're there, maybe have them sit for 2 or 3 minutes, maybe 5, just depending. Once they're done, and look, if there's no pee or poop in the potty, go up and communicate that. Like, "Oh, you didn't pee or poop? You're not ready? No? Okay." And then leave. And their reward system, use a picture for that too. Say, "Oh, nope, that's not ready. We didn't get a star." You want to communicate all of that. Have things that they really love, rewards that they like, snacks. Like, "Oh, you want some of this? You want to play with the doll," or whatever the item might be. "Oh, well, then you got to go to the bathroom. Let's go to the potty." You can even bring it with you. Have them sit. You can even sit next to them, and they can sign or sing with the doll. And you're still going to be there with them. You can video it, take pictures, and again, put that in the book too. And so when they see that themselves on the potty with the doll, meaning that, oh, the doll equates to going to the potty. That's what I get. It's a reward system. I mean, they function on a different spectrum. So it may be a little slower process for him. It will take time. But remember, do this only in the potty, only in the toilet. The door should always be open. Like, if you're ready, go. And if you have that reward system set up, say, "Look, this is the bathroom and you haven't gone yet. Let's wait like an hour, 2 hours. Like, are you ready to go? Let's go." And go to the bathroom again, or try to go to the bathroom again. And it could be a couple of hours, depending on the child, with other needs. It just depends. With autism, it takes time. A picture book is critical. So I would say follow through with that. Don't, be wishy-washy with it. Definitely follow through, be consistent. And that way he will take that and own it and be ready. But that's a really good question. Okay, and before I move on to the next question, I did want to let everyone know in the audience, because we started about 10 minutes late, I wanted to give everyone an extra 10 minutes to work on this. So you do have a little bit more time to ask some questions if you want. Okay, let's see. So the next question is from Anissa. And they ask, "How do I keep pee from getting everywhere?" Switch.
Okay, so paper towels, give to the child when the child has an accident and have them clean it up. They might realize, "Oh, that's my pee and it smells different. And my poop smells different." So encourage them. They can put on gloves, or if you're at home, you can pick up the poop with gloves. Encourage the child to do that. I did that with my children, and they were like, ew. They didn't want to pick up their own poo or clean up their own pee. So encourage them that it's time for them to help clean up. You have to tell them, "Okay, please do it." So when they actually clean it up themselves, then celebrate it. Celebrate it and say, "Come on, let's go back in the bathroom." "Oh, you had an accident." "Okay. But if you really do have to go to the bathroom still, come on, let's go." And every time they have an accident, have them clean it. That's going to be more motivation. And this is Dr. Delgado. I wanted to share with the audience, I read a tip from where I was working in pre-K. If a child has an accident on the floor and it smells, then you can use shaving cream to help get rid of that smell. Just put some shaving cream on there and leave it for a few minutes and the smell will go away. And this is Brenda. For me, with cleaning it up, I would have them help clean it up, wash their hands, and then I would spray and put gloves on and clean again to make sure there was no odor. And then I would ask them, do you smell it? I would ask the child, it's not mine. I would ask them, do you smell your pee? Do you still smell it? And they would say no. Okay, now I would tell them, just remember, if you have an accident, just remember, if you have to avoid accidents, if you have to pee, where do you go? And they say the bathroom, yes. So you want to keep it positive and encouraging. You want them to feel motivated and have them feel that they are smart and they can do it. Okay, our next question is from Karen. And Karen says, how do you potty train at night? My son is 5, almost 6. And when he sleeps really hard. He doesn't seem to even notice that he's wet and he sleeps right through it. And Brenda said that some are late bloomers when it comes to potty training fully. Some of them are much older. When I was preparing for this presentation, I read about a lot of cases where some kids are 13 sometimes, meaning that it's not necessarily a cognitive thing, they just cannot always control. And so they, ask doctors what to do with bedwetting. That's what you want to call it, is bedwetting. And it really just depends. Sometimes when kids are dreaming, that's when they wet the bed, or heavy sleepers, like you said. So that's something, they just cannot control what's happening while they're sleeping. I would just encourage you maybe to get plastic to cover over the mattress, but that is something that does happen with some children when they can't control it. And I know that doctors have tried to talk about what to do. There isn't necessarily medicine if your child is just a sound sleeper. I wish sometimes we could get in and think about what's happening in their brain, figure out how to help them. But I understand, I have had experiences like that in the past, yes. This is Dr. Delgado. You can also try to limit how much they drink before they go to bed. Try to give them less liquid a couple hours before bed. And make sure that they go to the bathroom right before they get into bed. The next question is from Valerie. And Valerie says, how do we prepare our children to go to the bathroom in public? That's a tough one. Good question. What I did when I was ready with my son, I told my son, okay, we're going to go to the store. Do you need to go to the bathroom? And I'd have him go to the bathroom first and tell him, now remember, you have to tell me if you have to go to the bathroom when we're at the store. And sure enough, when we were at the store, he had to go to the bathroom. So I hurried up, picked him up, ran, but it was too late by the time we got there. So we both were wet. So when we got to the public bathroom, I said, oops, oh, you're wet, I'm wet. And he signed sorry in his cute little way. When he was 2, he signed sorry. And I said, that's okay. It was an accident. That's okay. So I had a backup pair of clothes. So I changed him, but I was still wet. I didn't bring a backup change of clothes for me. So he did not do that again. So I thought, oh my God, when we go in public, he was holding it. He wouldn't go to the bathroom. So when we go out in public, the first thing we do is go to the bathroom first, and then we're ready to go shopping. So just be prepared when you do go out, when you arrive to your destination, whether it be a store or the library, go to the bathroom first. Just to try to remember to do that and then carry on with what you're there for. Good question. All right, well, I don't see any other questions right now. If you do have further questions, go ahead and put it in the chat box. But while we're waiting to see if there's any last minute questions, do you mind putting your email, Brenda, in the chat box? That way people can reach out to you later if they come up with more questions. And Stacy and Brenda said, Natalie, will you be sharing the PowerPoint with them as well? My information is there too. Now the links, there's a subscription where you can click on a subscription, but I'll put my name in the chat as well. And we have the Clerc Center information too, if Stacy could add that. Okay, and Rebecca said, this has been really helpful. Thank you so much. My pleasure. Email me anytime. I'm happy to respond to any questions you have. And I hope you enjoy watching the recording and practice the signing related to potty training. And click on the subscription for Clerc Center information, for info. Go ahead and do that because there's so much information there that you can glean from. And thank you all for coming tonight, and I hope you learned something. I hope that you can go ahead and start with your baby, with your toddlers, and make it fun. And have a great time with it, okay? And Natalie said, thank you all for watching tonight. If you missed anything, if you want to go back and review, I will go ahead and upload the video tonight and post it tomorrow morning, depending on how long it takes to upload and be ready. It should be posted at least by tomorrow evening. So you can look on the website, lalsd.org/outreach. Click on Family Workshop Series, and then Brenda's picture will be there, and I will replace the registration link with the recording and the PowerPoint, the video, and everything that she shared with me. If anyone needs to reach out to me as well, I'm going to put my contact information in the chat box. And Brenda said, yes, please do. And Dr. Lane, already the director for Louisiana School for the Deaf, she put the link there as well for the outreach program. Thank you, Dr. Lane. And Brenda said, thank you. Have a good night, sleep well, and have fun with your potty training. Send your kids to the bathroom before bed. Good luck. Good night, everyone. Good night.